Hello, welcome to episode 27 of No Holds Barred Pod. That's Sal.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm Don. Welcome back. We had a bit of a mare last week, shall we say, with our recording. Unfortunately, it just couldn't even begin to imagine the technical issues that we had with it, and I had to send it off to the very nice people at Riverside who we record through to basically reinstate our entire audio and video. So it only went out yesterday, and that was with amazing Lou Calvi. So yeah,
She's
thanks
lovely.
to Lou for coming on. She was amazing, and yeah, it was great to have her and to chat. Hopefully get her back at some point because I think she's keen to, so that'd be good. But yeah, this week just Sal and I. We've got a load of good guests lined up. One next week we've got, haven't we, for next Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, we've got Chantal next week to talk to us about
Chantal
trans
next
issues.
Thursday. Absolutely. Which I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, and we got a few others booked in for the next month or so. So yeah, right, let's stop rabbiting and get on with it because PMQs is back.
It is.
Absolutely desperate to get back into PMQs.
Well, do you know what? I think as we've just sort of discussed prior to recording, it was a tricky one this week because it was just entirely taken up with pretty much one issue, which we'll come to very shortly. But Starmer opened up by sending sort of RIPs to David Amos because it's the 4-year anniversary of his murder. Yeah. And he then sent his thoughts to Farage, who received a death threat, and did his damnedest to make news out of it this week. But because of this other issue, which might be interesting, he's had no coverage. So that was interesting.
Quiet reform week, isn't it? Yeah.
And Starmer immediately launched into an update on the collapsed trial of the two fellas charged with espionage, accused of spying for China. Obviously trying to get ahead of Badenoch and anything she had to throw at him, which was a lot. And he made a point of saying that all of this happened under the Tories initially. Yeah. Somebody, I don't know if it was in the backbenches, said something, and Lindsay Hoyle had a fit like I've never seen. He was
really
livid.
Oh, what happened?
He just proper lost his shit with somebody. Yeah, okay. It'd be it's worth going back to have a look because it was like I've never seen him. He can react badly, but he really was very angry.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll look at.
So Starmer went on to detail the Chinese spy issue. Said that he will be publishing all the witness statements in full. The Tories were too slow to act, and it could have been concluded by now already if they hadn't dragged the feet. Badenoch stands up and says that security... What have I written there? Security for parliamentarians is paramount. And then raised the Chinese spy trial collapse. And I've just put hot potato. That they were just playing hot potato with it. And it's all about the blame game, about who's at fault over this trial collapse. Not about the substance of it or the problems that it's led to or how we can stop it happening again. Or even, more to the point, the fact that we've still got problems with Russia ongoing live as we speak, right in front of where they're sat.
Exactly.
And no one's talking about it. So because of that, I was struggling with following PMQs. So I've got cursory notes, but if you want anything specific, go and watch it. So she started listing things that had happened literally under her own government with the trial, which I just thought was a bit odd. Starmer rebuts to the point that Cleverly is about to explode. Lol. Did you see Cleverly?
No, I listened to it on the radio. I didn't watch it I've only heard the audio, so.
I was waiting for his head to blow off. He was fuming about something. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna have to go and watch it now. Yeah.
He accused Badenoch of playing politics with national security. Um, she then stands up and she says they were charged under the Tories and let off under Labour. Yeah, really snappy, that one. And I've put, explain later, this is a ridiculous waste of time. Talk about Russia, please.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much, that was the end of that. Somebody stood up and pointed out that knife crime rose massively because of Tory austerity, which is why I'm talking about it, because it was nice that somebody pointed it out.
Yeah.
How can the PM keep residents? How can the PM assure residents know they'll be safe? And he's just said, we introduced Ronan's law and banned all these zombie knives and what have you. And that was that. Daisy Cooper was quite interesting.
Oh, yeah.
She gave her RIPs to Min Campbell. I don't even know if I remember he was
She
dead.
did.
So
Yeah, it
RIP
was
to
his
Min
funeral,
Campbell.
wasn't it, on Wednesday? Yeah.
Yeah, he was lifelong parliamentarian, wasn't
Yeah, and he was
he?
an excellent one as well, I think.
Yeah, she basically, Daisy Cooper's trying to get through underneath the issue of the Chinese spy trial collapse, because we have, I don't know if you know, I'm sure there was a panorama or dispatches about it not too long ago. There are secret Chinese police stations in London.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Keeping tabs on Chinese nationals in the UK and other things. Yeah. And which is why I know what she's saying is valid. She said Hong Kongers that have resettled in the UK, having fled Chinese repression, are absolutely terrified of the Chinese government and the creep that they seem to be having within the UK. Obviously, this case is proof of that. She said, is the PM trading their safety for a cosier relationship with Beijing? And Starmer said no, he will continue to support the Hong Kongers. She then stood up and she said, Tommy Robins' legal fees are being funded by Elon Musk, which is outrageous. If it were Putin, the government would act. What will he do? And to the best of my knowledge, his response was that he couldn't comment due to an ongoing legal case.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Which
I'll
is,
come back to that bit in a minute, because
yeah,
I've got something on that.
Then Liz Savile Roberts stood up. I love her because she gets right under their skin. She said, Starmer said that he'd be campaigning in Wales for Labour, but he hasn't been seen. Why is this? Is it because the Labour council leader resigned and recommended everybody join Plaid Cymru?
Okay.
And he stood up, listed a load of money that Labour apparently has given to Wales, and then slagged off Liz Savile Roberts.
Again, he's done that before. He's got previous for that, hasn't he?
Oh, he
To
hates
Liz
her.
Savile Roberts.
They all do.
He really does.
I'm not saying she's perfect, but she's very good at what she does.
She does. She winds him up.
And then I signed out then and thought I need to go and figure out what's going on with this Chinese spy case, because I don't understand why they're all just throwing shit at each other when we've got so many other issues at hand.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so unproductive. So I just wanted to, you can help fill in any specifics I'm missing out here, but just a brief roundup. In 2023, Christopher's Cash and Berry were arrested. In 2024, they were charged with espionage. Now, it seems to be that prior to 2023 and fairly recently, like this year, there was some sort of change in law going on that affects this case that the Tories should have handled, but as with everything else, they just didn't get round to implementing it properly. And now Labour have come along and they have implemented it, but it's somehow had an effect on this case. And they're all trying to point fingers and go, it's your fault, no, it's your fault. Well, do you know what? How about you just figure out what the outcomes are and how can we not have that happen in the future, you fucking idiots. So that happened. One of them was a teacher. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like they were high-flying civil servants or anything.
No. One was a political aide, wasn't he? Christopher Cash, wasn't he? But I think, the other one was a teacher, wasn't he?
So it's all a bit like, I'm sure there's bigger fish to fry. Notwithstanding, something I did learn looking into this, the brief bits that I have learned, China at the moment are trying to persuade our government to let them buy and or rent the original Royal Mint building and all its many security features so that they can have a brand new embassy.
For their super embassy, yeah.
Yeah. How about... Now, maybe it's just me, but I really, really rate and value old historical buildings of meaning. And I think something like that it's an item of national heritage, and it should be kept as maybe, I don't know, a museum of some sort.
Museum, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Not given to the fucking Chinese. We've got enough brownfield sites that they can go and build whatever they want within, legal reasons and that. No, is what I say to the Royal Mint. So none the wiser, really, but we did, chatting just before we recorded, come to the conclusion that talking about China is exactly why we don't need to talk about reform this week, because they've been fucking nowhere, and it's been, in a way, glorious.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's yeah, thanks. No, I think that's, as you said when we were chatting before, and you just sort of had a light bulb moment, didn't you? Went, oh, hold on. Maybe this is why reform haven't been in the news all week.
Well, no, it was after you saying I don't need to talk about reform this week, and I went, ooh, these two things might add up.
They haven't even done a press conference this week, reform. So, yeah, it's been a very strange, quiet week for them. It's almost as though they're...
They didn't have an order of staples come in this week, Dom.
Yeah, it's almost as though they're being put under some serious levels of scrutiny for a change, and they're sort of keeping themselves quiet.
I wouldn't go that far. I think it's just a way of suffocating them for a bit. If indeed that's what it is. It could just be coincidence.
Yeah. Well, it certainly worked. So if it is a coincidence, then it's something that the Starmer government could actually learn from and go, oh, actually, well, we can put out some...
Or while keeping real news away from the screen still.
Yes. Well, yeah. We'll put out some technocratic bullshit about some sort of tenuous espionage case, and lo and behold, Nigel Farage disappears. Yeah, maybe. We'll see, but...
no, it can't. No, it can't be, because... Why would they? Because if that was their aim, why would they not just talk about fucking Russia?
No, that's true. Yeah, that is
that would get rid of him permanently, but they won't.
Nah. Well, one of the Labour MPs did mention Nathan Gill at the very tail end of PMQ.
Yeah, the lady.
And I saw
whose name escapes me.
No, it was a man. I can't remember who it was. I'll have to find it. But he said something about Nathan Gill being under... I've got to word this correctly, but being charged and admitting guilt, that's it, to accepting bribes from Russia. And they cut to Farage and Tice, and Farage and Tice were the only two reform ones there, just giggling away to themselves. And it went round the socials going, this is Farage's response to the Russian bribery accusations that have gone on in reform. He's just pissing himself laughing at PMQs. So maybe. But then he came on Twitter afterwards and got all pissy, didn't he? And said, oh, what's the point in PMQs? They talk about me, but I'm never allowed to speak. Yeah, boo-hoo, poor you, Nigel. Sit down and take your spot.
He's such a little bitch.
He really is. Such a whiny little, narcissist, I think.
Yeah.
A whiny little narcissist, but yeah, I don't know. So this week, there's no reform roundup, because...
Woo!
Fuck them. Yes, at last.
Thanks, China.
Yeah, thanks, Christopher.
Thanks, Xi Jinping.
Yeah, exactly. China have finally done what the UK media and government can't. They've shut down fucking Nigel Farage. Well done. So instead of what's happened is it's actually given me headspace to do other things and think about other things. So what did I think about this week? And I wrote a long article that I put up this morning about the far right. But as a general
misery adjacent.
Well, yeah, exactly. I get accused all the time of calling people far right when they're not, and And everyone always says, "Oh,
Ugh.
define the far right." I'm like, "All right." So I did, and I've written a whole big Substack about the far right and how it started at the French Revolution and ended up with Nigel Farage. So if you want a long read about the history of stuff like that, it's on my Substack.
It's
But
very
another
good of
thing
them
it's
to
let me
feed you
do.
content.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. I don't have to think about topics to write about. I just get fired at. It's fired at me from Twitter every day. So, like, keep going. I'm just making notes. Yeah, it's great. Um, but the other thing you mentioned last week or the week before that you'd started watching the ITV drama, The Hack. And have you
Mm.
finished it now?
Oh dear, yeah, I finished it like next day.
You did, right? Yeah. So I'm
Mm.
as always late to the party, and
Oh, the
I'm just about
parallels
on.
are mind blowing. But I don't know if that's specific to you and I and the likes of us. I don't know if
Well,
that's like a national thing or whether it's just very pertinent
well,
to what we do.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I started watching it because you'd mentioned it, and then I think the second episode it starts talking about the start that one again, the
Morgan.
Daniel Morgan murder case, and which something I'm really interested in, and I've listened to Peter Jukes has got a really good podcast about it, the Untold I think it's called, the Daniel Morgan murder, and I forgot how intertwined the whole situation was with the sort of Nick Davies and the Guardian and all that Murdoch shit. So yeah, I've been really like I binged it, and I'm just about to finish the last episode, so no spoilers. I think we know what
No,
happens,
no.
but
I mean, this
no,
is where we end up, where we are
yeah,
right
exactly.
today.
Well, that's what I thought, and I thought that's what maybe we should mention it because that was about Rupert Murdoch buying his way to owning the world, as it were, in the press and the media back then in sort of early 2000s through to mid 2000s, and then now we've got feels like it's happening again a little bit with Paul Marshall trying to buy his way to world dominance in the media with, currently owning GB News and The Spectator and I think trying to get The Telegraph as well and various other
Well,
kind of right-wing publications. So
it was watching
just
that
feel
that
like,
made me sit there and think, well, why don't we just make all media companies that operate on our TV screens in this country, like, live here? Or
yeah,
you have to pay more tax?
why not? Absolutely right. Yeah, you said
Call
that
me a
last week, didn't you? And
weirdo.
keep the British press owned in Britain, and then kind of eliminates a lot of the sort
Mm.
of bad actors in it, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
again,
just
it's something that they're not even talking about.
no, it's not on their radar at the moment, is it? Unfortunately, but
That's why we need to keep talking about this kind of thing to open
we
conversations and get people talking about it.
definitely,
Because other options are
definitely,
always available to everything.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen The Hack on ITV, it's on the ITV player thing, ITVX, and despite
Mm.
ITVX being absolutely terrible, it's well worth a watch. And David Tennant, as always, is amazing in it. And
Oh, yeah.
but I thought Dougray Scott as Gordon Brown was spectacular. I think like
Yeah.
when Gordon Brown makes an appearance later on, and Dougray Scott's like, I was like,
Do you
wow.
know
I had to
what?
look it up who it was. I didn't recognize it.
It's only now you've just said it bothered the shit out of me because I couldn't put my finger on who was playing him. So
Yeah,
thanks for that.
I had to look it up. I had to
And
IMDb it because I was like,
I've not clapped eyes on him in years.
no. I was like, I recognize his eyes, but obviously they put the makeup around
Yeah.
his face and everything for Gordon Brown, and he did the kind of the actions as well so well. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this guy's good at that. So, but yeah, it's well worth a watch. I'd
That
highly
was a cracking
recommend The Hack.
cast. I was
Yeah,
just a bit
and
disappointed Hugh
oh yeah,
wasn't in it, but I imagine he's had
yeah.
enough by now.
I was hoping he might make an appearance, but I liked Alistair
There were a
Campbell's
couple of
kind of
cameos,
mini
weren't there?
cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
few, yes. But yeah, it was an excellent piece of TV. And as you say, it made me think about where we're at the moment with the press and the media. It's just feels a bit like we're all just kind of circling back to where we were in the late 90s, early 2000s, and yeah,
It's
but we'll
just
see.
ramped up,
And
hasn't it? It's with that on steroids. They're just cannier now about how they operate.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think what did I write in my notes? I said in 2011 it was such a massive, revelation, that there was cover-ups and illegal activities going on within the press. And now it's almost a given that that's happening because, I don't know. It's just, there's so much stuff going on, but as you say, we're drowned in it by the social media aspect of it, and that's what's different. So we're fighting against a much bigger wave of shit, effectively, at the moment than we were back then. It was sort of limited to the newspapers, and there was websites, obviously, but not as prolific as they are today. So
what I'd love to do, hopefully, at some point we can get Ian Byrne on. Because I want him to talk to us about the Hillsborough bill. But that plays into this press issue, doesn't it? Because of what the press did over
really
Hillsborough.
It does.
And also he might be able to give us some perspective that we don't understand about what the fuck is going on. Why are they doing nothing about this?
Yeah. You've approached him, haven't you? And he sort of agreed tentatively.
I've met him a couple of times, and I asked him the other week if he'd come on. He said he would. But obviously I've had my surgery and it was a bit heavier than I anticipated, and I've been, I'm off my game. I'm trying my best, but I'm off my game. We will get to it.
You think you've done brilliantly to plod through doing podcasting whilst recovering from that. So yeah.
Do you know what? I was having, as you know, I've not been handling it terribly well because I think I misinterpreted how big an operation it was going to be. Yeah. I was chatting to my therapist yesterday, and I'm like, "Oh, really fed up. I'm really down." And he's like, "You do know it's 2 weeks since you had major surgery, don't you?" And I'm like,
"Yeah,
that's a really valid point, and that's why I pay you money."
Yeah, it's a bit of perspective from a behind. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, it's all going to be fine. That's my mantra.
At least you're healing up well, because you sent me the photo of your scar instead of to your therapist. You sent it to me.
I know, yeah.
So, that's going really well. Look, brilliant.
And do you know what? Just to bring us full circle, because I also text you, I couldn't fucking believe it. It's everywhere I go. I can't escape it. I'm going to say out of nowhere, because all I did, and I can't even remember what it was in relation to, at the end of my session, I made some passing quip about the far right. Again, couldn't give you any context. And that prompted him to come back with some metaphor containing Nigel fucking Farage. I'm like, no! This should be a Farage-free zone! This is my therapy! You're fired!
I want my money back for that last hour, thank you very much. You just ruined it. Yeah. I know, what a random thing to happen. Oh, well.
But yeah, anywho. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Just gone off on one.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the hack. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think, yeah, it's good. I just think it's a fantastic bit of TV and drama that's come out of something real, and I think it's well worth people watching because it gives a perspective about where we are right now, as to where it kind of started with Hillsborough, as you said, through this Nick Davies stuff through The Guardian and what they did with Millie Dowler and the News of the World and all that, and now where we're at. It's a good bit of background history.
But the bit I got to when I was talking about it, I think, is where you are now. Oh no! Sorry, you've got one left, haven't you? I'd watched. I think I'd watched the first two, and I was just aghast. And I don't know why I'm still surprised. 10 years on, but it was the lack of any interest on this massive story that he had.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's wrong with people? And it's always, there's nothing wrong with people. People have their own politics, don't they? That's what's wrong with the problem. No, that's what's the problem is people's...
Yeah.
People.
Empathy a little bit with some people and
self-protection and...
Yeah, mental health protection. But yeah, they talk about that a few times within the show about, he says that they can break one story, but it doesn't become a big story unless the other papers pick it up. And 2 or 3 times throughout the program, nobody touched it until, as it got towards the end, towards the Billy Dowler stuff and the Andy Coulson stuff. But that's what it's like right now, isn't it? It's like we're bashing our brains out trying to get stories out about, Nigel Farage, for example, and I've said I wouldn't talk about him, but his house. And then the Russia stuff, which has only really been covered by 1 or 2 people. And there's so many things which we think should be front and center, but are just being held back. But so,
Mm.
it's still in that respect is exactly the same as back in 2008 or whenever Nick Davies was trying to break the story the first time. If you don't
They
get
can't all be that stupid for that enormous amount of time.
No, they're not. Of course they're not. No, exactly. It's just a willful ignorance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
So,
very convenient.
yeah, but what I took from it was, how the perseverance that Nick Davies had, and he had the backing of the Guardian and Alan Rusbridger and people like that. But to go effectively ruin his own life to get this story out, and he did it, and eventually, it worked. So there's a lesson to be learned in that, in a bit of perseverance, and not giving up on stuff. So I took that as a positive from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For another
Yeah,
wasp.
some strange noises coming from my bookcase. And I know the cat's outside because I've got a new cat flap and he can't work it out.
Can't come and mute your microphone this week.
Oh, the other one might wake up and do that, but no.
Yeah.
Strange. I've got ghosts.
Yeah. Ghosts in the bookcase. That sounds like a sort of cheap thriller.
With Derek Acora coming to prove me wrong.
All roads lead back to fucking Derek Acora. Yeah. David Bull will be knocking on your door. All right. He's left me. Right. What else are we going to talk about? What have you got?
I wanted to talk about the Sumud Flotilla.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Since I think we recorded, has been hijacked, as was suspected would happen in international waters. So absolutely hijacked and kidnapped. And I know because I listened to the Crispin Flintoff show. He had Sarah Wilkinson on, who's a very staunch Palestinian advocate on Twitter, and was on the flotilla. And she essentially was raped. Oh, can't say that on. If we were monetized, we'd be in trouble for me saying that. So I've got to learn these things. But for the moment, it doesn't matter yet. That's what happened to her and Greta Thunberg. They were beaten and they were assaulted and they were not given water and they weren't fed. And it was horrendous what they went through. Very good interview Sarah does with Crispin Flintoff. So
excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, so that happened. And then very swiftly after, we had the Palestine-Israel ceasefire phase 1 that we're currently into. They've started letting aid back in, but only minimally. They're still shooting people dead.
Yeah.
People are still getting killed. The Israelis are complaining because apparently their cadavers, is that the right word? Are not being returned promptly enough.
That was,
Cadaver, yeah, aren't being returned promptly enough. But, Hamas have had some issues in storing them because they've been under constant bombardment.
Yeah.
Which was pointed out, and apparently they calmed down after that. But considering we're supposed to be a pod that talks about difficult situations, Hamas have been executing Palestinian people.
Yeah.
And the reasoning behind it is they are executing gangs of Palestinians who've been robbing other Palestinians of food and beating kids up for their families' rations and stuff.
Yeah.
And when somebody pointed out that, it's not justice, it's not all the rest of it, and Hamas are like, well, we've got no functioning courts, we've got no rule of law, we've got nothing, what we have is this, and we can't have people attacking kids and beating them up for food and killing people for food and money when we're trying to rebuild, our society. And what do you do with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't get my head around it.
No, I was going to say it's a really difficult one.
It's the absolute depths of human depravity. All of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really difficult one. I saw it, and it's, as you say, it's like, where do you put yourself morally in that position? Because obviously you can't you shouldn't be live streaming executions of people at all.
They've
And
got no
then
prisons to throw them in.
yeah,
I'm
no, I
not,
know.
I'm just.
Yeah, it's very difficult position for everyone on all sides to
And
think about that one.
bear in mind, because of the circumstance that they're in. I mean, in the UK, life is cheap, but it depends. Your life is depends in what class you are. Over there, in the middle of a genocide, life is worthless. You are
Yeah, unfortunately.
right on the edge of. You can't even call it civilization because there's
No, it's
absolutely no
not.
civility there. It's barbarism, and you're trying to manage. I have no concept of what that even could be like.
No.
So it's
Just one of these sort of
horrendous. The whole thing is just the absolute worst example of what can happen to
yeah.
humans if we
Mm.
let people massively misbehave for too long, for too harsh a way. What am I trying to say? In too bad a way. It's
Yeah.
horrendous.
It's like a sort of horrible dystopian movie, isn't it? Where, set amongst the rubble of this ruined city and, masked men with guns and stuff. It's like something you would see in like a sort of dystopian sci-fi. But as you said,
Oh,
it's just like reduced everything back to the base level of like everyone for themselves, kill or be killed kind of shit, which is not how we should be living as human beings.
I'll tell you, this is exactly why, and you can call me whatever you want, I couldn't give a fuck. This is why I have had raging issues for as long as young fella Milado's been playing on the Xbox. Are they called first person shooters? COD and stuff, Call of Duty.
That's exactly what it's like.
That's not fucking entertainment.
Mm.
How is that entertainment? It's insane to me. I mean, I understand the monetary aspect of why they do it and how it's come to fruition, but this is the outcome of that. That's seen as entertainment now.
Yeah, it looked like Call of Duty or whatever. I don't play those ones. I play Super Mario Kart. But, yeah, I don't really get into those shooting games, but it is like that, isn't it?
It's not entertainment, and it's certainly, and I know they have age ranges on them, but yeah, I mean, we're de-evolving. No, what am I trying to say? No, de-evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just grim, and I don't know. But we have to wait and see how that whole thing's playing out. We said that last week because it had just been, I think, like when we recorded last week, Israel hadn't agreed to it, and they were still bombing, but then they agreed to it, and then they bombed a bit and shot a few people. But apparently, they had excuses and reasons for it, and then they kept the aid corridors closed. And as far as I know, the Rafah crossing is still closed as of today. As you said, they let a bit in, and then they shut it down again. To me, that's not them. I mean, again, I don't know what's going on the other side of the fence, but that's the viewpoint I see from Israel not keeping to their part of the bargain. But they said the people they shot they'd come up to the yellow line, which is the sort of arbitrary line that Trump and his cronies had drawn for them, and that these 5 or 6 people had approached the yellow line, so they shot them dead. They didn't warn, they didn't say, back off, or they didn't shoot them in the leg or whatever. They just shot them dead instantly. So yeah, it's rough as fuck. It's awful.
And I'll tell you something else I've seen a bit on Twitter that's pissed me off this week. People giving it, oh, come on, give Donald Trump his due. He's ended this war. No, what he did was fund the fucking war for far too long. That's what he did. You can take give him his due, and you can shove it up your ring piece. The man is a genocidal, enabling, psychopath, rapist, con man, worst person in the world.
And
Sue me.
The deal that he put forward was the same deal that Biden offered a year ago, and he's now taking credit for the exact same fucking thing. Read into that what you will, but it's bullshit, isn't it? So, yeah. And he wants the Nobel Prize.
Well, he didn't get it, did he? Sadly, the person who did get it is a fucking MAGA lover and paid tribute to him.
Did she?
Yes.
I thought she was a bit of a lefty. I thought he rang her up. I thought he'd put out on the news that she'd called him and worshipped him, but actually what turned out was that he'd rang her and asked her to say these things about him. And she said a couple of things, but she didn't say the full shit that he put out that she said, she said. Sorry, that's confusing.
I thought I'd
It
read a
wasn't.
quote from her.
We'll
We're going to have
check
to
on
look
this
this
and we'll
up.
come back to it. Yeah. We'll come back to that one. Because the one I saw was like, actually, it did turn out that she didn't call him. He called her and he asked her these leading questions and got her to say these things out. But we'll find out for sure and we'll report back on that one because, yeah, it's a different, interesting one. But yeah, I don't know. It's week on week. We'll just see what happens when we record again for the next sort of a update on Israel. But yeah, it's no good, especially if they've got fucking Stephen Yaxley Lennon in Tel Aviv at the moment,
Oh,
grifting
what?
shekels from the Israelis now instead of like off of Elon
Do you want,
Musk,
do you want
which
to,
he has been
do you want
doing.
to start that story right at the beginning?
What? Why he's in Israel, or what he's been
No,
doing
just
this week?
before he got there. Before he got there, Don. What
Yeah,
happened just
he's
before he
been
got
there.
there?
He was in court this week, wasn't he? For which one was this? Oh yeah, this was because he fled the country and was stopped at the border driving a £180,000 Bentley with, I think,
There
thirteen
wasn't
thousand
it?
pounds in cash. But yeah, didn't belong to him, obviously, and with 13 grand in cash on him, and he refused to give his phone to the counter-terrorist police. So yeah, he got nicked, unsurprisingly. Um, and then yeah, he's been up in court for that this week. And then it turns out that the judgment and sentencing has been delayed by, I think, a month or something, 3 or 4 weeks anyway, because he's got a trip booked to Israel, which is convenient. And
Do we always
at the
afford career
behest,
criminals that kind of
Mm,
liberty?
yeah, yeah. I think we briefly mentioned it last week. The sort of minister for diaspora, I think he is, invited him over a couple of weeks ago, and they set the date of travel to Israel the day after his court date. So he, I think, appealed to the judge for some leniency in sentencing, and the judge said, "Oh yeah, sure, off you go to Israel, go make some shekels out of the Israelis, and come back in a month, and we'll sentence you." Yeah, it's definitely a weird situation. So, yeah, I don't know what else to make of that because
I can't even.
no, I just saw him on Twitter before we started, and he's literally out there like doing videos on with IDF soldiers, and he's doing some sort of speaking engagement, which he's charging, I think, 50 shekels, which is about £11.50 a ticket for at the weekend. So yeah, how he gets away
It's
with it, fuck knows. I wouldn't have the balls
uh,
to even front this shit up, but he just gets away with everything. So
our Rebel News, the new Daily Hail.
yeah, maybe. But I mean, one funny thing was that there was a video of him arriving at Tel Aviv airport, and I think there was one person there to greet him, the guy from Rebel News, Yavi, whatever his name is. But that was it. It was supposed to be a state visit, but there was just him, one guy.
State visit?
Well, that's
I
what he's
thought
been
that was
talking
for,
about.
aren't they for dignitaries?
You know, actual dignitaries. But fucking, I don't know. It, it beggars
Just make
belief how
this
he gets away
shit
with it.
up.
Yeah, I know. But people believe it. He's got such a following, it's ridiculous.
It's the
It's just
Trump
mad.
playbook, isn't it?
Mm,
Well, it
yeah,
literally is a madness.
definitely.
They're deluded.
Well, yeah, totally. 100%. 100%. It's borderline. Well, no, it's not even borderline. It is a cult, I reckon.
They're psychopaths.
You know. Yeah, that's it. All
So
comes back
we
to that.
just were misinformed over what psychopaths are really like for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. So, and talking of psychopaths, did you
That's what
see
I was going to
RFK?
say.
Ah, you can
About
do it if you
somebody
want.
else. Sorry, do the RFK psychopath first.
Yeah, oh, it was just a little short one. I just saw RFK had put a video out this week. I don't know where he was appearing, but it basically is him being interviewed and saying that that people need to stop trusting the experts. said it's not a feature of science or democracy. Trust, it's a feature of religion and totalitarianism. I mean, is it? I don't think so. But that just reminded me of like Brexit when was it Gove who said we don't need we can stop trusting experts? I don't know. It's just all.
Name this poem, because I can't. First, they came
Okay.
for the intellectuals.
Oh yeah. James O'Brien
No,
always goes on about that one, and I will find it out because I
that's
can't
true.
remember the name
I
of
mean,
it off the
this
top
is
of my head. But
fascism.
he's
We
right,
are
of course.
literally, the fascism has passed our tippy toes and it is creeping up our legs.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's one of my long things that I'm going to write about. Well, I have started writing about. It's taken a while, but I put a whole thing out about the far right today and where that's come from. And yeah, this is part of it, definitely. So, but yeah, RFK Psycho of the Week. Who was yours?
Oh, well, I was just going to say Tuesday next week, everybody, the 20...
Oh yes.
Is it 20th? I think it might be the
I don't know.
20th.
Something like that.
It's
Yeah.
the 21st.
21st. Yeah.
We've got Blowjo at the COVID inquiry again, and
Mm,
the bereaved families have been excluded from this hearing for reasons
yeah,
nobody
they
can
have.
understand. Or they haven't explained. I thought maybe we can understand. And I just thought that one we should all keep our eyes on. You know, being as
It'd
how
be an
he's a mass
interesting one.
murderer and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just another one that can blag his way through life and seems to get away with everything he sort of does, doesn't he? And gets paid very, very handsomely for doing it.
Oh, he's a
But
disgrace.
let's hope something comes up next Tuesday. I'll be watching it because, yeah, it would be nice to see a bit of accountability for what he did, at least
Well,
in
just to see him
questioning.
sweat. I mean, I think that's probably
Yeah,
the best we're going to get, isn't it? Just to watch him
yeah, that's it
squirm.
exactly. In questioning and see what he comes up with. So, yeah. What else have you got? What else have I got?
I've just got a little feel-good thing for the end.
Yeah,
But
we'll
other
we'll
than
keep
that,
that all right for the
I'm
end.
pretty much done.
Yeah, I've got two small things. One of which I'll briefly mention because I'm going to come back to it in the future. But I wrote a thing about flags and the Raise the Colours guys who are doing the flags in and around Birmingham at the moment. And there's a bit of background work happening with me on this. So watch the space. But they're run by this raisethecolors.org. There's three of them and three different groups calling themselves that. One's run by this real far right racist who was convicted of a racist murder. Then
Oh,
there's
God.
raisethecolors.org, which is run by a guy called Ryan Bridge and Elliot something. Ryan Bridge, I wrote about this week. He ran a holiday claims company that was part of a scam that scammed £9 million out of holidaymakers, and is currently under charge in Spain. So, as of 2025 January, he's still under charge for that. But yeah, I'll come back to the flags because there's a big story behind it, and it's as Lou said last week, it's the money behind it is dark money, and it's funded from the pot of the big unlimited pot of money by the far right. So
Yep.
there's a lot more to come on that. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention was this. Did you see on Politico the young Republicans leaked text messages and WhatsApps? Wow,
Don't call us
fucking
Nazis.
hell!
Hitler was
Yeah,
pretty cool, actually. What?
fucking Jesus! It was
Dickheads, man.
it was quite unbelievable, some of the stuff. I
I
don't
didn't
want to.
read it. I heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, just as a couple of examples of the messages that came out of this group from these young Republicans. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. One guy said, "Great, I love Hitler." If we ever had a leak of this chat, we'd be cooked for real. When do we start the bullying? I mean, it's just, I'm not even going to read out the worst ones because they're just vile. But it got me thinking about apart from the fact that, these are the people that are sort of up and coming in the Republican Party in America who, potentially could be the next in 10 years government.
Can I just point out that the word young is doing an awful lot of heavy lifting because the majority of them are in
Yeah,
the fucking 30s.
that's very true. Yeah, there are. They don't look very young. Yeah, especially the one guy who's balding and got a patchy beard,
Oh.
who looks about 50. But anyway, yeah, something went off in my head. And when I wrote about Nigel Farage at the House Judiciary Committee a few weeks ago, when I did the research on the article I wrote for that, I was trying to sort of identify the people in the background behind him who were sort of like
Oh, yeah.
laughing along.
The women.
Yeah. And there was 2 or 3 women and there was some young guys. And I got a few of them, including Farage's, sort of George Farmer and people like that.
Mm.
But the others that I could identify were young Republicans. So it got me wondering if there's a link between Farage and the young Republicans. Turns out there is quite a big link. So I will come back to that again, as I said, but I want to do a bit more research on that because he's very connected and spoke at one of their conferences. So all this far right kind of anti-Semitism and racism that's being bandied about by these young Republicans, and Nigel Farage is quite closely linked to that group. So that's another one that I'm coming back to. So yeah, that's about it for me, I think, this week.
Well, I just wanted to finish by talking about the impending civil war in America. We mentioned last week ICE being protected by Texan Rangers soldiers in Chicago.
Yeah.
And Chicago now looks a bit like a war zone. However, over in Portland, they're handling things very differently, seemingly much more successfully. Because I've sent, hopefully Don can put up some stills right now of what I'm talking about. The people in Portland are dressing up in inflatable animal costumes and protesting, guys. And it's some of the best protesting I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. There's also a guy who dressed up as a giraffe. He's on Twitter as Robbie Road Steamer. Very Rod Stewart-esque, very gravelly voice. And he takes his karaoke machine with him and belts out sort of tracks, but anti-ice. He makes anti-ice lyrics up. And he's hysterical. And they arrested him for singing, dressed as a giraffe.
Definitely not fascists. Oh no, it's just mad, isn't it?
But it's a real and they also did one day this week. They did a naked bike ride against ICE.
Yeah.
And it made me think. Do you know what? Nothing to make these people shit themselves more than a load of naked people just walking towards them. Maybe we should try that.
Yeah, definitely. Didn't one of our friends, Baz, put something on Twitter that he'd been involved in an art shoot? Yeah.
Oh yeah, in Hull. Yeah.
In Hull, yeah, that's right. Yeah. But a naked art piece. But yeah, no, it's an absolutely ingenious way of protesting this, and I love the inflatable frog just right in the guy's face is just
brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely cracking shot.
Hats off to Portland for that, because they're doing, in the face of some seriously nasty adversary, they're like trying to deal with it in a different way, and it seems to be working, as you say, nicking people for singing now. So yeah.
I mean, the kip of these ICE people as well. I've just seen somebody be literally arrested. I think I've retweeted it actually. Well, I say being arrested, being manhandled to the floor by these 2 blokes with no ID on them whatsoever. They just look like pedestrians.
Yeah.
And it's being recorded by a guy who's an ex army vet, I think he said.
Right.
And this guy's going, I'm an ex-army vet, get off him. What are you charging with? Who are you with? Where are you from? And there's other people saying, what branch are you from? We're from the government. Which bit of the government? Where's your ID? And they just carted this fella off. And so they're literally making it legal to go and kidnap people because you're never going to know. It's unbelievable. It's the Stasi.
Yeah, it's exactly.
How is it not the Stasi?
No, definitely. Yeah, SS, Stasi, it's whatever.
We need to shut this shit down fucking now.
When
I say we, humans, but
Yeah, not you and I, but yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's just a bizarre twist of fascism in America that's sort of come to the front again. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as much as we say we're not America, these things will never happen here. There's a creep that's happening.
There is a creep.
The
There
links
is
are all
definitely a
there.
creep.
You've just highlighted them.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. But we'll keep pointing them out. So hopefully we get the message out that, these things can be shut down, if we're quick enough and early enough on it, because we're not quite at the stage America is at yet. So, yeah, if we can get the word out and make sure the far right aren't able to replicate what they've done in America, that would be nice. We have to buy inflatable frog costumes for everybody, I think.
Well, no, funny enough, it's one person's done it. They've gone out and just bought a shitload of inflatable animal costumes. And they bring it down and, people can go and borrow them. Brilliant.
Well, that's good. That is excellent. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a collective thing that people were doing.
No, well, I did. Right. And then I saw that there was a photograph of the person with all the costumes. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, thanks off to that guy or girl.
Again, thank you, China.
Yeah. Very true.
Fucking
You're
hell.
supplying...
It's impossible. It's an impossible thing.
Yeah, I know. On that bombshell, I reckon we're probably about time. We might come in about an hour again. That'd be nice.
Oh, yeah. So, well done, us.
There or thereabouts with a couple of little edits. I think we might be about there, so that'd be good. Yeah. Yeah, that's it for me for this week.
Yeah.
I will definitely get this out tomorrow, assuming there's no more technical issues.
Oh, bless your heart.
I
need to say a massive thank you to you, because you've had a couple of weeks of software hell, and it's beyond my capability, and I feel ever so guilty. So thank you for all the work that you've done. I do appreciate
absolutely fine. When we, as I said to you before, when we start getting sponsorship and paid for this, we'll hire an editor. Until then, I'm happy to do it. So yeah.
Let's try Nurofen. They might do us.
Yeah. Or who makes codeine tablets? Yeah, Accord. Yeah, Accord codeine tablets have been getting me through. So yeah, if Accord codeine tablets want to pay us some money, I'll mention them again. Right, enough rabbiting. I can't even speak now. Rabbiting, and we'll head off. So yeah, that's good for me. And have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Have a great day. Please like, share, subscribe, and thank you for listening.
Yes, please.
And we'll speak to you next week. Adios.
Ciao.